In that case, I will call to order the Common Council meeting on April 13th, 2021 at 7:30. First up is Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Alder Arada Frada.
Here.
Alder Clouder. Alder Gerhart.
Here.
Alder Krause.
Here.
Alder Maldonado.
Here.
Mayor Richardson.
Here.
Alder Schroeder.
Here.
Alder Strassman.
Here.
Alder Udell.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you. First, we're going to do a proclamation, and then we do have a public appearance for a non-agenda item. So I know we've got some people here to come up. I think we're going to take a photo as I read this, so bear with me a second. I think they want you guys to come up for a photo op of some kind for the Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. All right, we're recognizing National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. We've got some people here with us today. All right, whereas dedicated public safety telecommunicators daily serve the citizens of Fitchburg by answering the requests for law enforcement, fire and emergency medical services by dispatching the appropriate assistance as quickly as possible. And whereas the professional public safety telecommunicator is that vital link between the citizen or victim and the public safety provider who may apprehend a criminal, save their possessions from fire, save their life or the life of a loved one. And whereas the safety of our emergency responders is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained by the telecommunicator and the dispatcher's activities, providing radio, telephone, and computer services. And whereas their critical functions performed by professional telecommunicators also include those related to highway safety, road maintenance, public utilities, and other services that affect the health and safety of our citizens. And whereas emergencies can strike at any time, we rely on the vigilance and preparedness of these individuals 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And whereas the Association of Public Safety Communications Officials, APCO, an organization of over 16,000 people in the United States and Canada, has set aside this week in April to recognize telecommunicators and their crucial role in the protection of life and property. Now, therefore, I, Aaron Richardson, Mayor of the City of Fitchburg, along with the Fitchburg City Council, hereby proclaim the week of April 11 through 17, 2021, to be National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Fitchburg, in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism help keep our community and citizens safe. Proclaimed this 13th day of April, 2021. And we've got a couple people here. Hold on, we're going to take some pictures.
In the meantime, I'd also like to put in a word for the 911 operators that work at the county level for us as well.
And we do have a couple of people with us. What are your names?
Denise Miller.
Denise Miller and
Thomas Prohaska.
Thomas Prohaska. Thank you both for your service and for joining us, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and just a reminder for all items today for the public comment that you do have 3 minutes. And we do have one person on a non-agenda item. I believe it's Griffin. And it looks like Griffin is.
Yep, I'm here. I'm on Zoom.
Okay,
Can
great.
you hear me?
Alrighty,
As soon as you're ready.
great. So first off, hello everyone, and thank you for allowing me time to speak on behalf of my neighbors and myself. So I have been a lifetime resident of Fitchburg for 17 years, and over the course of a few years, my block, the 4400 block of Sentinel Pass, has seen some serious disregard for the safety and property of others while other people are operating their cars. Especially over the past few months, we have seen a major increase in speeding, reckless driving, and hit and runs with private and government property. This obviously has put a sense of unrest on our block, and we are all worried about who might be next. Since the beginning of the year, we have had a total of 3 different mailboxes taken out, a lamppost, a speed bump post, a single vehicle crash due to reckless driving, and constant speedings and stop sign violations. To my knowledge, this is definitely abnormal. I did some math and told that just from these incidents alone, the total damages that the city and my neighbors have had to pay is roughly $3,500. I have filed multiple reports and have spoken with a few Fitchburg police officers regarding my concerns, and I have seen almost no action occur for my complaints. I have not seen a single traffic stop on our block this year. However, I do see cops come by to go up towards Allied on routine patrol. They do not spend time around us, however. So, as you can see on your screen, I'm going to direct your attention to this visual I created. This is all of the 2021 incidents that I'm aware of that have occurred on my block. So you'll see points on your screen. There are blue points and yellow points. The blue points are points that have occurred this year, and the yellow points are points that have occurred previous years. Some of these blue points and yellow points have multiple. One of the yellow points, actually, that person's had their mailbox taken out 3 times, which is completely abnormal and unacceptable. Now, continuing on with the visual, you'll also notice some black lines and black points. That's where most of the speeding and stop sign violations occur. I am an avid biker, and I have nearly been hit several times while biking and walking on Sentinel Pass by people who are speeding, completely disregarding stop signs, and even school bus stop signs. I, for one, do not want to become a statistic because of other people's poor driving habits. I actually gathered data at Crescent Road and Sentinel Pass stop sign. I took a video, which I sent to Mr. Yarborough. Hopefully, he or someone else will send it to you after the meeting. I'm not going to be showing it today, though, because unfortunately, I don't have too much time. Out of the 20 people I observed in a 30-minute time period, only 2 stopped. That is a 10% stop rate, one of which was either a Madison or Fitchburg police officer who rolled through the stop sign. In conclusion, my block has been tormented and frankly overrun with aggressive drivers, and it's causing my amazing neighbors to have their property destroyed, and it's causing us to be worried about potentially hit while walking or biking. Because of this, I do propose that during the hours of 5 to 7 a.m. and 5 to 7 p.m., when most of these incidents occur, we get aggressive police enforcement on our block to combat aggressive drivers. Should this not be attainable, potential alternatives I've come up with are traffic or speed cameras mounted on the light poles near 4434 Sentinel Pass and 2602 Cochise Trail, or even a potential
All
speed
right.
awareness. just to keep
Unfortunately,
people-
Griffin, I have to stop you there. Thank you very much for
That's fine.
coming
I
in.
just had a thank you sentence, so I basically got everything I wanted to. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, and that's the only non-agenda. All right, good. All right, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to move?
All right, moved by
Second.
Randy, seconded by Dorothy. Is there anything that anyone wants to remove or take
Yeah,
out, separate?
Yeah,
Julia,
and I,
see Julia, and then Joe after that. Maybe Julia, what do you want to remove?
I want to remove number 2,
Number
B2.
B2. All right. And then Joe, is there one that you wanted to remove?
Not remove, just move up. So if I need to wait for that, I'll do
Yeah, after we do the consent agenda, I'll call on you to change the
it.
agenda.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Anything else, Tom?
I'm sorry, did Julia say number 2? Take out.
B2. B2. Resolution R6121.
That's fine, that's one I just had a comment, that's all.
Anything else to remove from consent agenda? All right, seeing nothing else. All in favor of approving everything except for B2, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, those are approved. And Julia, B2, what do you want to do there?
Can we refer this to Finance Committee too?
Sure. Would you like to move to approve it with that change?
What do you mean?
Move to approve B2 with addition of Finance Committee?
Yes, please. Mhm.
Okay, so that's a motion by Julia, I guess. Do I need a second?
Second.
Seconded by Sarah. All in favor of approving B2 with the change of also referring it to Finance, say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
And opposed, nay. All right, that is approved. All right, Joe, I know you want to do a few changes to the agenda. Go ahead.
Sure. I would like to move both R8721 as well as R7521 up to the top of the agenda. And I would also like to move mayor and alder reports to the end of the agenda.
All right. So that was. All right, so did you want to do 7521 first? I think that's what we have the most speakers for. And then after that, we will do the 8721, I think it is. All right. All right, so is there a second to that motion?
Here.
Oh, hold on, I need a second first, Dorothy, and then I can call you.
I'll second.
Okay, all right, question, Dorothy?
Yeah, I wanted to say, can we do the reports before closed session rather than at the end of the agenda?
Sure, that's fine. If that's okay with Joe, I should say, that's his motion.
I'm fine with that, yeah.
All right. I'll just take that as a friendly, that you're both okay with that. All right. So on favor of moving up 7521 and 8721, and then moving down to all the reports, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, we have those changes in. All right, so we will go to Resolution R7521. Also, it is 7C2, if that helps you also. First, I need a motion, probably from Parks, Sarah.
Motion to approve Resolution R7521, a resolution to declare community park designation for North Fish Hatchery Road Hub project.
Second.
Seconded by Joe, thank you. Did Park Commission approve?
Yes.
Did Finance approve?
Yes.
Yes, all right. We have some public speakers. Do you want to first, Sarah, tell us what it is, and then we'll go to the public speakers? I think people are aware, but you just want to explain what it is, and then we can get into the discussion after the public speakers.
Sure, this is the project that's proposed for the North Fish Hatchery Road neighborhood, the hub. The proposal is to designate it as a community park versus, I don't believe it actually had a designation at this time, so it would be officially designating the park as a community park and be eligible for those financial resources.
All right. I have one person in council chambers that would like to speak. Mr. Tony Hartman, come on up. We'll go to you, and then we'll do the people online. And then there's some people who had done some emails. I can read that off next. Go ahead, Tony.
Awesome, thanks. Hey, I'm going to take 30 seconds of my 3 minutes to thank Sarah and Dorothy and Tom, the retiring alders, for an awesome, well, in some cases longer than others, but certainly Dorothy for serving 5 terms and Tom for 38 years to this city. And I know that a lot of people will be thanking him probably at the last council meeting, but that's a lot of time to spend up here with all of us characters, and then also to be a policeman, especially on this night when you were honoring the public safety. So anyway, Tom, next beer's on me, and one for Sarah and a couple for Dorothy too. I just want to speak in favor of this. I know most people are in favor of this, but just to let everyone know, I'm acting president right now of Bike Fitchburg, couldn't get out of that, and a wonderful group of volunteers that are looking forward to doing safety work up there with especially the kids from the neighborhood, but all the folks that'll be using the hub. And it really will be an awesome community resource. I think we'll get a chance to do rodeos, and then I understand now tie in the Capital Off-Road Pathfinders who maintain Quarry Ridge, and we'll be working on that along with Seminole Park this weekend, are going to be putting on events at the adjacent Leopold Park, and then there looks like a connector will be built between those two parks. So it really is going to be an awesome Madison, Fitchburg area up there, and most of you know that that area needs the resources. So the fact that we can do this now by tapping in, by making it really a part of the golf course and a community park is what ought to happen. So I'm really pleased that this has come up, and I thank everybody for considering it, and look forward to a yes vote.
All right, thank you. Who do we have online, Chad? All right. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Bernicia Clifton, and I'm here for Resolution 8721 in support of redirecting funds to support the research being done for the Teen Center. I just wanted to say that it's never wrong to survey your constituents and to really put in the community what they're requesting. And this data could be universal data for you as you make decisions about the community, but not only that, to better design a teen center that's really made from the youth voice. So I'm asking that we support the redirection of funds. Let me say the right
I'm
name
sorry.
of the funds.
If I can, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're actually not on this one yet. If that's one you want to speak on, we're on 7521. I'm sorry, sounds like we called on you early. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you. And quick question, is it possible to register to speak on a different item, or is there a cutoff for that?
No, you can register for a different one too.
Okay, I would also like to speak on 8721.
All right.
But for this resolution about the community park designation, I love this neighborhood. It's one of the few places in the greater area where you see people outside walking to stores, kids playing in the yard, people barbecuing outside. And there are just very few nice gathering places that we have here. And so this park will definitely get a lot of use from the immediate community. I hope that there will also be an engagement process with the next door neighbors. I know there already has been some of that to make sure that this park serves people who are already in the neighborhood very well. I emailed you all earlier today. I was really shocked that Nine Springs is a community park because it certainly is not welcoming or accessible to the general public. I sent you a picture of a no trespassing sign that appears on the perimeter. So designating the hub as a community park, I think, is going to go a long way in really helping to recognize the value in this part of Fitchburg. So thank you in advance for supporting this designation.
All right, thank you. Who's next? All right, Rosalia, go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to speak here briefly. I'm Rosalia Gittens. I'm the Community School Resource Coordinator at Leopold Elementary. And I'm here to speak on behalf of our two affinity groups, our Black Parents United for Change and our Grupo de Familias Latinas de Leopold, as well as other members of our staff and students. We like to express our support, strong support of the hub. We think that this is one of the best equitable action steps that the city can take in order to be inclusive and to really bring kind of more life to the Leopold community. So we are hoping that everything goes smooth tonight, but yeah, just reiterating how happy we are that this area will be designated, the hub will be designated as a community park. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Who's next? No one else for this one? All right, I do have people that wrote in. All right, we have Frances Hunley Cooper wrote in support. She lives in Fitchburg. Franny Lyons from Fitchburg wrote in support. Mary Power from Fitchburg wrote in support. Jenny Peters from Fitchburg wrote in support. Kirsten Hulisman wrote in support. She's from Fitchburg as well. Sue and Paul Fieber from Fitchburg wrote in support. David Gevers wrote in support. Micah LaDusa from Fitchburg wrote in support. Ethan Piper from Fitchburg wrote in support. Megan Siebert from Fitchburg wrote in support. Paul Muir wrote he's from Fitchburg as well, and he is in support. Shelley Malofsky from Fitchburg wrote in support. Amy DeWald from Fitchburg wrote in support. Katie Tradinick from Fitchburg wrote in support of this. Elizabeth Ward from Fitchburg wrote in support. Elizabeth Cox from Fitchburg wrote in support. Brian Poole from Fitchburg wrote in support of this. And Sarah and John Pernstill from Fitchburg wrote in support as well. All right, that is all the public comments. So I'll open up to people on council to provide input or feedback. Sarah, go ahead.
Just from the Parks Commission, we definitely support this and see how this park would be used and valued within the neighborhood. The only thing that we did have a comment on is that within the 5-year park and open space plan, it does include a statement showing that community parks should range in size from 50 to 100 acres with a standard of 5 acres for every 1,000 people. Obviously, this location doesn't have the acreage to support that, so the only thing that we did talk about, and Wade was in attendance and was a great partner in that meeting, but we did just talk about as to how potentially that open space and park plan could include some additional qualifiers to make it very clear so that we have guidance in the future and just know exactly as to kind of what criteria so that we continue to value our community parks and offer unique options.
All right, thank you. Joel, go ahead.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you to Parks Commission for your support. I would like to just call on Wade if you'd like to offer up any comment regarding the size designation that Sarah mentioned.
Sure, yeah, and Sarah references our parks plan. Those are what we, basically parameters for both features and acreages for our various park designations, neighborhood, area, and community. They do use the word desirable. They don't use the word required. So I would just point out that those, again, are guidelines. There's nothing, to my knowledge, in city ordinance that says, you know, a community park shall be a certain acreage. Traditionally, community parks have been larger in size, but again, I think the hub, you know, with its smaller size, but also with its amenities, you know, certainly could qualify as a community park. Additionally, you know, the past couple of years, as we've been fleshing out the hub concept, we have planned it as a facility to draw both the neighborhood and the broader community. So the planning intent was to really have the hub serve as a community facility. So.
All right, Randy, go ahead.
We discussed this at great length in finance, and some of the questions that I had was that, and Wade, we agreed that there needed some further clarification for future discussion regarding neighborhood area and community parks. And I brought up the issue that I had some concerns initially. I've never had any concerns with the hub. I think it's a great project. It's just how we get there. And when I had the conversation last year with Alder Arata Frada, I was under the impression that all of the funds were secured for phase 1 with the classification of the neighborhood park. But we had further conversation this evening, further discussion in the finance. Can you, Wade, explain to us why it left or went from a neighborhood to a community park? I know you've touched upon it, but can you go into further elaborate on that further?
Yeah, and just to be clear, we never designate. It's never been designated thus far as any kind of park. This is the first time we're having a discussion about a park designation. I think in the past we probably used the term neighborhood hub, but again, that was a loose term. It wasn't meant to imply a specific designation or a specific user group. I think we were using that term generally because it was located in the North Fishhatchee Road neighborhood. So maybe that's where the perception came from, that it should have been a neighborhood park. But again, certainly from the past 2 years of planning, we have been planning it as a facility that it would attract not just the neighborhood, but the broader community. So if using the term neighborhood hub was a confusing point, certainly apologize for that. But again, up until this point, there was never any specific designation of area, neighborhood, or community park.
Julia, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So what I want to add is that, this community park is going to be a complement of the, as someone mentioned before, the Nine Spring Golf Course is considered a community park, but is practically it's a private park because in order to access the park, you need to pay a fee and to play golf. And there are no other programs that there are programs that are free for the community to access the park or even to walk if you want to walk around the park. So I think to designate this part of this parcel with the hub, phase 1, as a community park is going to be a community park because it's going to bring a lot of amenity and components that they are unique. They're going to attract people from not only from the neighborhood, but also people from the different part of the city. And if you read the information in the package that we put together, it enumerates all these components that are unique to the park. And also, we need to consider that some of when we approved this in the CIP plan in the summer, the idea was that the funding for this hub is going to be coming from park fees, grants, and debt. And the idea is that if we can utilize most of the park fee to fund the park in order to borrow less money for this park. So that one was another idea. We have some of the park fee that we can only use in community park, and in accessing in designating this parcel as a community park is open. It's open, the opportunity to get more funding through those funds. So that one was the reasoning behind this resolution. And also we need to look long term. We are expanding and we are improving the fish hatchery corridor. More improvement and project are coming to the area. And we need to reflect and determine what are the other components in the future that we can add to this park when all this, if we bring more population to the area, more apartment complex, more businesses. And also we need to think that there are almost 2,000, 5,000 units in that area. And we multiply that by 2 people per unit. How many people that they live in that area and they don't have access to a park? Because they cannot access to the golf course, they need to go to McKee Farm Park, is the closest park. So I think, if we designate this park as a community park, we are going to bring to that area of the city those amenities that they are lacking.
Gabriella.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because there's a lot of different justifications for designating it as a community park. But I think one of the things that I think is powerful about this is that this neighborhood has been very under-resourced and it needs this park for the neighborhood. But I think it's pretty powerful for us to state right here, right now, that this park is for the whole community. And we're hoping that the whole community utilizes it and comes to that neighborhood and makes the Nine Springs area actually accessible to everybody. So I love this both. I think there's a lot of justifications for it on paper, but I also think that symbolically it's a really important move for the council to make and hopefully to send a message to the community that this is a place that everyone should value and utilize.
Dorothy and then Joe.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been around a long time. I was a big part of the group back in 2013 that had done a study to see whether the Nine Springs Golf Course should continue as a golf course or whether the community really needed it to be a city park because they have had no parks all this while. It was very clearly recommended that we develop city parks if it were to stay a golf course, which ultimately city council decided to do. But all of these years, those children that live around there have not had a park to play in. Part of that study, I was showing pictures of the snow that the kids are allowed to play in, which was the plowed up piles of snow in parking lots. Pretty sad. So it's more than about time. My presumption all along has been that this wouldn't be a community park in and of itself, but that it would be an extension of the golf course and it would be a community park complex. That may be a cleaner way to do this rather than discussing whether it's big enough to be a community park or not. One of the big values that I see for the greater community is we do not have another sports complex that is roofed over. If people can come and play tennis outdoors when it's raining and stay dry and things like that, it's going to get a lot of use just for that simple fact. Not certain what bike amenity or bike type amenity we're going to have. I know we're not going to duplicate what Madison is doing, but we need to give serious consideration to what would complement what they're doing. And when, might have been Karen, had mentioned combining Leopold with what we're doing, that caused me to think once again how dangerous it is to cross Post Road. Post Road does not have a stop sign. They do not have a stoplight. They do not have a pedestrian activated light. If kids want to go to one park or the other, they have to dodge traffic, period. That's the reality that they've lived with. The city really needs to get together with Madison and say, hey, we need to do something to make it safer for the community to cross Post Road. So that is one challenge I will leave with this group.
All right, thank you, Joe.
The only thing I'll add to Gabriella's comment is I think another aspect that's needs to be brought to light is that this has the potential to bring in a lot of resources to the community, a lot of partnerships. I think you've got some folks that are waiting to speak that are part of institutions that could come in, whether it be the university, our local business community, and other nonprofit organizations. So I think that sort of adds to the community aspect of this park, is that it'll probably bring in a lot of volunteers as well as folks to be able to collaborate to serve the community.
Misty, I guess I had a question for you real quick. I mean, I think all of us up here agrees that this park needs to get developed. In fact, the design of it is happening right now. This park is happening. I think people need to understand that. This isn't a referendum if this park should happen. This park is happening. Design is happening right now. I believe, though, that, Misty, you said that it actually doesn't really matter what we designate the park. It's really the amenities themselves. Are they meant to draw people from the entire community, or are they more like local? If it's a playground, well, there's a lot of playgrounds. That's more of a local thing. If it's, I don't know, a bike track, pump track, maybe, I guess, that might be more of a community type of thing. I know there's a lot of money already set aside for this park, regardless of what it's called. But I believe if you said before, and you can confirm this, that it actually kind of doesn't matter. And it seems like we're almost a little premature to call it whatever it is because we don't have the design. Once we have the design, this seems like this should be packaged with that and brought forward on, here's the design for the park, and we want to make it a community park because of this great design. But I guess, can you just clarify? Because I believe you said before that it kind of doesn't matter if we call it a community park. It doesn't mean we could just have a blank checkbook.
Correct. If we're talking about whether or not we can use park fees, park improvement fees, and then park fees in the land dedication, the indication of whether or not those fees can be used is what the amenities or which parts of the city those amenities will draw people from. So the developments that pay those fees in, as long as residents from those developments will come to that park, that's what will indicate whether or not those fees can be used for it. So this park in particular, there is the old juice plant, the 3101 South Fish Hatchery Road. Those park fees and park fee in lieu very clearly can be applied regardless of the, whether it's community wide or if it's just that neighborhood, because that's the park that community is going to, or that development is going to use. It's those other amenities. In order to use park fees from other developments across the city, we'll need to make sure that those residents will also be using this park. So that designation as a community park and the phrase doesn't necessarily automatically mean that those fees can be used. It's going to be more on what the actual use is of the park and those particular amenities. So I think that's a true, fair statement.
Thank you. Tom.
Misty, I guess I have a question on this, and I think I know the answer. It's Resolution R, that 7521. This vote tonight, though, does not specify any design. It's just more or less creating the hub at this location. Am I thinking right? But the design, this does not do that, or correct me if I'm wrong. Does this have anything to do with design?
Misty,
if I may share.
Yeah, please.
So you're correct. The design is not complete yet. That is something that Wade and his team are working on at this point too. That will be coming forward to a future council meeting once that's decided. This is, I guess, it's symbolic. I mean, Gabriella had the perfect phrase for that. That setting that intention for what the park is intended to be, and then I would assume that the design, when it comes through, will follow that same intention.
Julia, go ahead. Julia, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't hear you. No, the other thing about the design that we want to mention is that we have a concept design that is going to be almost the final design that we want, with the components and elements that we want to have in the final design. So we already have a pretty good idea how the design is going to look like. So, so this is what I am not concerned about, that this is not the final design.
Dorothy, go ahead.
I presume that it's also easier to look at designs if you have a sense of the funding source. And if the funding source is a question, then you would design differently than you might if you knew exactly what the funding source was going to be. So we should know that we're going to be able to use the developer fees in designing this park.
I guess I think we've designed a lot of stuff without regards to the cost of it, and also, like Misty said, it's not necessarily, you need to know what those elements are going to be to know if they're drawing from the whole community or if they're more for that area. So I don't know that you can make that without knowing what those elements are. You don't necessarily know if they would be more of an area, because this is really an area park. It's not even a neighborhood park, it's an area park, I think, like a Swan Creek and Tower Hill, Wildwood, Jamestown. So I guess I've seen that done either way. Julia, go ahead.
No, I want to clarify again that this park is going to have components and elements that they are unique. They're going to attract people from different parts, and they are in the concept design. And if you read the resolution, I already described which one are those. They are part of the concept design.
Any other comments? Seeing none, we can go ahead and vote then. All right, all in favor of R7521, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that passes. All right, moving on now to the other one that got moved up. All right. 8721. I don't know if Julia or Joel wants to make a resolution on this one or a
I can
motion.
do it.
Okay.
I move to adopt Resolution R8721, amending the 2021 general fund budget, redirecting Fitchburg Fund donations and funding to the Teen Center study.
Is there a second? I need a second.
A second.
Seconded by Julie. All right, thank you. Did finance approve?
Yes.
All right, and just so people know, this needs a 2/3 majority since it is a budget amendment. Joe, do you want to speak to this? I know you made the motion.
Sure. I go before the folks speaking.
Yeah, just to explain it real quick.
Okay.
And then,
Okay. Perfect. So this is to complete the total amount that would be needed for a community engagement study for this year. There was some unspent funding, primarily coming from the United Way Fitchburg Fund. We had conversations with both the Healthy Neighborhoods Grant Committee as well as United Way. Both were in favor of moving the funds for this purpose. One thing I want to say, and I can probably get into it a little bit more later, is that by allowing these funds to be used for this study, I think we would be true to the intent of the funds. Part of this is collecting data and getting information, from young people, from families, from community residents. But also another part of it is within that engagement, you're also doing community work. You're also engaging young people. You're also allowing for, especially during these times of COVID, for people to be able to have, meaningful, purposeful community building activities that, maybe otherwise have been used during normal times for the same type of work, essentially. And, youth work is one part of the purpose of the H&I grant. So I think we're still being true to the use of those funds. And again, the donor is in favor of it. So I think, we should also, I urge my council members to also support this.
all right, we got some public speakers. Chad, who you want to go first? All right, now you can go. Sorry about that.
Hello again. Thanks for take two. My name is Pranisha Clifton, and I'm here in support of Resolution 8721, redirecting Fitchburg Fund donations to funding for the Teen Center. I am actually the Director of Youth Protection and Compliance for the University of Wisconsin, overseeing hundreds of youth programs across the state, along with 20 years of youth programming experience. And I've really seen what good programming can do in a community to change it and to really invigorate its constituents. The other thing I wanted to say about data collection is that it's never wrong to collect data about your constituents because it's universal. So it's not only about the discussion of whether or not a teen center should be built, but whether or not, if other resources in the community are needed. So it's kind of like a way to catch two birds with one stone. So what I would say is that it's never wrong to invest in youth, and it's never wrong to invest in research. And so I hope that you all will support this resolution to reallocate the additional funds to expand this research for the Teen Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for waiting. All right, yeah, Karen, do you want to speak on this one? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I also want to speak in support of this resolution. I had written previously when conversations were going on to get the Teen Center started last fall, and I'm in full support of doing whatever it takes to get solid data and a good study to make sure that this Teen Center is everything that it can possibly be and serves the neighborhood as best as it possibly can. I'm speaking on my own behalf today, but I work for a couple of nonprofit organizations, and I expect both of them to be engaging with the center once it's up and running. And one thing I know from this work is we often cut corners on the front end of things. We think we know the problems and we think we know the solutions. By we, I mostly mean white people in positions of power. And when we do that, we inevitably make mistakes and we end up with something we spent a lot of money on that isn't really doing the job. And this is a very small amount of money to invest to make sure that when we're building out the center for everything it can be, that it's effective, that it's right, that it's serving the needs as well as it possibly can. So for a small investment of, that's what this resolution is asking for, you can save yourselves a lot of money in the future by avoiding mistakes that you'd make by not asking the right questions. And it looks like, as Joe mentioned, this great rationale fits right into the spirit of what these funds should be used for. So again, fully support this resolution, and I hope you do too. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else that we have, Chad? All right, that's everyone from the public.
May I say one more thing?
Sure.
I forgot. I also wanted to bring up that we have a Friends of the Teen Center comprised of members from around the community with amazing expertise, including myself and other people that have dedicated their lives specifically to working with diverse youth. And so this research would be backed and supported by community members who are in the community and for the community. So this is a good time to do this research while you have these folks in the room.
All right, thank you. All right, open up to council questions, comments. Shannon.
I was just kind of, is my thing on? Okay.
Yep.
I was just wondering, like, how much money did we give for this past year?
For healthy neighborhoods?
Well, wasn't it for the study of this? Is that going for the same funding? I thought we did.
Misty, do you want to speak to, I think it was 40,000 or something that we're supposed to get, and they were supposed to get some money. Can you speak to what we had passed?
Absolutely. So this was included in the 2021 budget. It was done via the council amendment process. So it was a $40,000 study that was authorized. 25,000 of it was paid for by property taxes, and then the other 15,000 was to be paid for by donations. And what this amendment would do is it would drop the $15,000 of donations that are needed by that $11,003 that was previously allocated for a different purpose. So the $40,000 study would still be in place. It would just change $11,000 of the funding source from donations to property taxes.
You want to follow up? Go ahead.
12,000 would be more property taxes going towards this, correct?
Correct, but it's taxes that we already collected for that Fitchburg Fund Healthy Neighborhoods purpose. So it's not additional taxes we'll need to levy, but it is property taxes at the end of the day.
Thank you.
Tom, go ahead.
For alders coming aboard and for other alders on this council, when in doubt, watch the Finance Committee. Just for the future, when something comes up on the council, what I'm trying to tell you is watch the Finance Committee. So I did that tonight, and here we go again. Just so the council knows that I get it. I get what's going on here. The $15,000 was nonprofit, and United Way was like 3,000. I may be off a little bit, but 3,000. And then Misty just brought it up, 25,000 was taxpayers' money, and I know some of it, and I don't have it all. I know I don't. Maybe it was from Healthy Neighborhoods. The bottom line here is it hasn't been met. We're dealing a shell game right now. This is a shell game. And I hate to tell you, but I said this before, I'll say it again. When we built the library, it was a long time. It was 3 years plus. And it took a lot of good people. It took a lot of committees. It took a lot of the public. I can't say that strong enough. It took a lot of the public to get involved. And I sure hope you don't vote for this tonight until other money is raised somehow. This is not right. This isn't right, the way this is done. I again was disappointed when I saw the vote on the Finance Committee. As I watched it, I can't help but to think, you know, they got the cart before the horse. You're taking taxpayers' money. I want to make that real clear for District 4. We have a lot of farmers. We have a lot of rural people. We have a lot of people on fixed income. We have a lot of people that don't know where their next tax bill is coming from. And you took $25,000 to make this happen, to make it go? And yeah, you did. You sure did. Right now, I'm going to call it a shell game. And, Wayne talked about it. He talked in favor of the money, which I understand. I totally understand that. But the money's not there, folks. The money is not there. I'm for it. You have the money, you raise the money. Let's bring it forward. That's fine. And if you're wondering about why I bring up that library, it was because I started it. And it was a very hard deal to start. In the meetings I sat through, in the time I sat through it, wasn't an easy deal. And the money we had to raise, I can tell you some of the people. Two of them might come to my mind, and I know them that well, so I'll use their name, Mary Kay Zimbrick and Phil Sviam. They really helped us raise money to get this library. And the fact of the matter is this isn't right. It just isn't right. I'm kind of glad this came about before I left. You can take it from here. There's two alders that I hope are watching tonight. Maybe three. But the fact of the matter is, that one wants 2 teen centers, now that I think about it. But the fact of the matter is you don't have the money. And you're shifting the money around. So think about this before you vote on it, is all I want to tell you, because they haven't reached their goal.
I have Julia and then Joe after that.
So I want to make some clarification. Is the $25,000 was approved accounts in the last budget meeting. We have the $11,000 allocated in the Healthy Neighborhood Plan Initiative Fund that aligns, you know, that the purpose of that pilot money was to focus that money in youth program. So the Healthy Neighborhood Initiative Committee in December, we talked about this, how we're gonna use that money, plus the $3,000 that it was fundraised by United Way. And since the teen center study, we are talking about the study. We are not talking about building the center. We are talking about doing a study that is gonna cost around $40,000. So the idea is, why we don't transfer this money, the $11,000 that we have in the Healthy Neighborhood Fund, to redirect this fund to support the study or complement the $15,000 that the study needs to collect with private funds. That's it. We are not building this, we are not deciding tonight to build the center of, you know, we are trying to say we move forward with a study that we already approved budget night. And what we are trying to do is redirect some $11,000 that, yes, they are taxpayer money, the 11 plus the 3,000 that it was donated by some donor from United Way, to the teen center study. That's all. This is what we're doing.
All right, Joe, go ahead.
Sure. So just want to reiterate what I said at the beginning. You know, the H&I funds are designated, to support programming, youth programming in 3 specific neighborhoods, one of which is where this study will take place. This study will also allow for engagement with youth and engagement with families, which is a specific category under the Healthy Neighborhoods Initiative. So, I understand there's needs in all of Fitchburg. However, the specific use of this fund is for these specific neighborhoods. And, under the sort of spirit of the Healthy Neighborhoods Initiative grant, it will still be going toward that purpose.
Dorothy, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been on H&I since the beginning, and we need, well, I think I can, I listen to a lot of people. I read what a lot of people say, and I think I can speak for the people who want kids to stop stealing cars. Right now, we're not doing much of anything to help the kids that are getting in trouble. We need a way to help guide them. I think it was a year and a half ago or so, we had people from the Juvenile Justice Center, the juvenile jail, present to the city council at a committee of the whole. And what they said those kids have to say is they do not have support systems to help guide them into becoming productive people in our society. That is what they need more than anything else. And that is the one primary objective that I would see for having this teen center available to the community. It would probably get a whole lot of other use, but that is the primary one. I've said in the past that the Boys and Girls Club is not effective for this set of kids because those kids end up getting kicked out of the Boys and Girls Club, and they end up left to their peers and other people who really work hard, including groups that Karen works with, presuming groups that Pernicia works with as well. We need options for our kids that struggle, and this would be something that we really, really need to strongly look at.
Gabriella, go ahead.
For me, I think, we've had lots of conversations about the teen center and the process for it. But I think in terms of this discrete resolution, I think this is a very easy decision. In the budget time period last year, we said that we would fund part of the study with the budget, which we did, $25,000, and we said we would fill in the gap, the $15,000 needed to have a full study through other means. Turns out we already have a fund that fits perfectly into this study fits a perfect application of those funds. So $14,000, part of it from formerly collected from tax revenue, and then also the donations from the United Way donors who have said that they're on board with this. So I think this is an easy call. We needed to fill that gap. We have this money already. I wish we knew that during budget time, that we already had this money available, and that would be a good application. So I'd say in terms of this we can have lots of conversations about the teen center. I look forward to more conversation, but in terms of this very discrete amendment, I think this is an easy call. This money is meant for this type of use, and we should apply it to this use.
Misty, I just had one question. I think I know this. I just want to verify this information. I believe later tonight we're going to approve the Healthy Neighborhoods grants, and it's like $68,000, I believe. But I believe there was over $170,000 in requests. And so this is really kind of saying instead of fulfilling more of those requests, we want to fund the study instead. Is that accurate?
To an extent it is, so that 11,000 that we're talking about could be redirected really to any purpose, because council has control over all of the property tax funding. So yes, in theory, the council could elect to put that 11,000 towards additional Healthy Neighborhoods grant if you chose.
Sarah, go ahead. Sorry. I'm not used to looking this
I
way.
know, I'm sorry.
Just hit me.
No, my only comment is that I do remember when we had this conversation in the budget, and everyone was so excited about being able to designate these funds to the Healthy Neighborhood Initiative, and we talked through as to how it would just create more involvement, and we would potentially work with more organizations across the community. That this feels odd to me to be shifting these funds. That I do see Tom's point of getting the community involvement, and that I remember the excitement and feeling excited about being able to have these funds for the Healthy Neighborhood Initiative. And I understand that, yes, one of these neighborhoods is, but this feels a little disjointed to be shifting the funds like this.
All right, I've got Joe, then Julie, and then Tom.
Yeah, so I'd like to just add to that piece. You know, I've been working closely with Wade on putting out an RFP. I think one of the benefits of being able to increase the size of this study to make it whole would be that there actually would be the opportunity to be able to engage not only youth-serving organizations, but also youth themselves. This would be an opportunity to be able to potentially provide youth with some level of compensation for their participation, especially during COVID and the effects that we've been having on economically on families, and it would also allow for whoever we end up choosing to lead this study to be able to work with neighborhood organizations to be able to bring in participants, with people that they have close relationships within the community to be able to be a part of this study. So, I mean, really, this has the potential to do a lot of things that the H&I grant is at the heart of. I think we just need to let the process go through.
Thank you. Julia, go ahead, and then Tom after that.
Yeah, so I want to clarify that when we designed those $11,000 for the pilot for the United Way, they were in the H&I committee. It was decided those funds will be allocated in the west of Verona Road area for any youth program. So, and this is why we decided in December last year, when the committee decided to redirect this fund, because this one is aligned, redirect this money to the teen center. The teen center, the idea is it's gonna be located in the west of Verona Road, working with youth program in that area. So that one, it was a perfect match to align with those programs. So we are not changing any, as you mentioned, Sarah, we are not changing the path on how to use this fund. These funds were always designated to that specific area on youth program.
Tom, go ahead.
I can't let this go. There's no way. Yes, you are changing a lot, Julia. You're changing the goalpost. You're moving the goalpost. That's not what we discussed back about a year ago. And to state and to have an alder state that we're going to build a teen center because they won't steal cars and cars won't be stolen, you have to be kidding me. Wow. They will steal cars. No doubt. And I agree, it's from the family. And I can help you out with that. If some of these teens want some help, we do have big brothers and big sisters, in Dane County. We have churches and pastors and religious that can help. We have juvenile officers throughout Dane County that can help. We have retired officers that can help. But to say that we need this because they won't steal cars is just ludicrous, unbelievable. And I will continue to say it. The public has been shut out of this. And I hope they hear tonight. It's just not right. I've never seen anything like this. We're going to buy a building We're going to study it. We're going to pay for it with taxpayers' money that they don't even know about. And it wasn't in the budget set up like this. It doesn't meet the smell test. And yes, the three of you are, excuse me, some alders are moving money around without a doubt, but it's wrong. The taxpayer, we haven't even discussed this with the public and the citizens of Fitchburg. It just amazes me that we're going to build a teen center, folks, in Fitchburg. And we have another alder that wants to build 2 of them. But we're not going to talk to you. We're just going to build them. And we're going to think it's okay with you. Wow. I sure hope that this fails and you can relook at this with the next alders. Because I know some of them won't be on board. But it's a shell game. It's a movement. You've moved the goalpost from the last time we were in the budget about this. Thank you.
All right, I've got Joe, then Julia, then Gabriella, and then Dorothy. Go ahead, Joe.
Clarify a couple statements there. Alder Clouder had mentioned, other organizations and other sort of people in the community that would be involved. That's exactly what the purpose of this engagement study would do. So it wouldn't only engage youth, it would also engage school staff, it would engage community leaders, it would engage neighborhood residents, it would engage juvenile justice, it would engage nonprofit organizations. It would truly bring a lot of different people together, including youth, to be able to provide solid data, but also, again, activities and engagements, which I'm going to sound like a broken record, is a purpose of the Healthy Neighborhoods Initiative. Healthy neighborhoods are neighborhoods in which people are engaged and connected with one another, and that's exactly what this study will do. It's not just to collect data, but it's also to get input from people, and it's to make people feel included in the process to be able to develop something that will be for the community. In terms of building something without community input, again, this is what this study will do. It will provide community input. This is something that was discussed at length when we talked about this in the budget process and in the CIP process, which is, this is what I've heard from alders and the mayor, was that in order for us to be able to move forward on building community space, we need to get good data. This is exactly what this is doing. So this is not, bypassing the product. This is actually listening to what folks on the council asked for, which is information and data. Without this, we're not going to be able to have a good product.
All right, Julia, go ahead.
So I want to mention again that tonight we are not approving building the community center. We are redirecting funds from the Healthy Neighborhood Initiative Fund that it was allocated to youth program to use it in the teen center study that is aligned with youth program. So we are not, all of this was approved by council. The only thing that we are doing is we are redirecting funds from one bucket to the other one. They align with the purpose of the program. So we are not doing anything wrong.
All right, Gabriella, go ahead.
I want to comment. I mean, we talk about this teen center a lot, and I hear a lot of extreme statements being made about the budget process. But I mean, the budget process last year worked exactly how it was supposed to. We took a look at the projects that the alders wanted to do, and the council determined that the teen center, buying the teen center, was not something that could happen in the budget. It worked exactly the way it was supposed to. We didn't buy the teen center. And, but I do think the fact that we had that conversation and discussed it was important. I don't think that everything that comes forward in budget time has to pass, but having those discussions are important, and I'm really glad that we engaged in that discussion. And out of that discussion about whether or not to buy the building, which we landed on no, we decided that we needed to study it. And the council agreed to pay part of that through for the available property tax levy. So I think the process worked exactly as it was supposed to. And I think now is the opportunity to make sure that we put as much money forward so that we can get this community study done as soon as possible. So yeah, like everyone said, this is not to buy the building or to do it. This is about looking at this neighborhood and finding out what's needed so that we can design a project that works. These funds are already earmarked for this type of purpose. We're just moving them into a fund to make this happen and to make sure that when we do make a decision to purchase a building or to invest in a building, whatever that might be down the line, whatever budget process has to happen to make that happen, we will have good data about that. And then as a side benefit, it'll help us with the Healthy Neighborhoods Initiative because we'll have some additional data to inform that wonderful process that we all are very supportive of through our votes. So I just wanted to clarify that about the budget process because the budget process worked exactly as it was supposed to. We had a great discussion. The council landed on no, but we landed on yes on this study. So let's use the money we have to put into this study so that we can move forward on this project.
All right, I got Dorothy and then Randy after that. Go ahead, Dorothy.
Okay. Talking about shell games, the very first year I was on council, people decided that it was okay to take $1 million from broadband and give it to 911. I'm like, wait a minute. I would have liked to have used that money to help boost broadband capabilities in the rural areas. But the city decided we needed to send it over to the 911 center instead. We do massive shell game stuff in the city all the time. This money is going exactly as we had discussed it in budget. It is going to a Healthy Neighborhoods project for youth in that neighborhood. We talked to United Way that had approved the funding. We talked to those who had donated money toward it, and everybody agrees that this is a good use of their donations. And to have people say they don't want it to go to, it comes down to those people. It's always, ends up being the dominant white people that don't want to send money to those other people. And we need to be better than that as a city.
All right, Randy, go ahead, and then Joe after that.
Well, I'm not sure how to follow on that. Yeah. You know, we had some great lengthy discussion in finance as well. And there is a level of frustration on my part. I do remember the process last year. $40,000, $25,000 taxpayer money. And leaving $15,000, $3,000 from United Way, and then $11,000 from carryover. That's what I'm calling it. I'm curious as to the remaining balance, where that will come from. Is there any thought on it? And then there's also another question. I keep hearing that the study itself, and this is a great program, no question about it. And I have preached all along that we need a study, we need a business plan, and I'll take the study as a business plan any day before we have a building or build a building, buy a building. I'm just curious as to where the remaining portion of the dollars will come from, and I mean, I see $1,000 there sitting. What do we do until then? Is everything just on hold until it's approved? I don't know. Maybe somebody else can answer that.
Misty, you want to answer that quick, and I'll go to Joe after that.
So generally, we would need to have that other $997 in additional donations before we would start the RFP process for a $40,000 study. just logistic wise, the other option would be that you could do a $39,003 study instead. But right now it's a $40,000 study. That's what's intended. And we need to have all of that funding lined up before we could engage in that.
Joe, go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna leave a comment, but addressing that question, would it be okay if I would ask Pranisha to speak on that, since she's one of the co-chairs of the Friends of the Teen Center group?
If you could speak to it, I think that's better. It gets a little messy when you start having the public.
Okay, I'd be fine. So, recently a group was formed within the past month. It consists of about 20 people, most of which live in Fitchburg. You have social workers, school staff, the football coach at Verona. You've got people from the Fitchburg Chamber, as well as folks who represent philanthropy, business, and also foundation work. So one of our co-chairs works for the UW Foundation. The other, who spoke earlier, works for UW-Madison and has extensive experience fundraising. So I say all that to say $997 will not be hard to come up with to complete this amount. I'm gonna, again, bring it back, though, to the center, which is that the work of this study will not only collect data, but it will also engage people, engage human beings in a very meaningful way over a period of time, which will be true to the work of the Healthy Neighborhoods Initiative. A couple things on that. One, it'll build trust. I think there's a lack of trust, especially nowadays, especially during COVID, especially during a summer with a lot of tension across the nation and locally. I think it will also create a sense of focus and purpose, because people that are directly in the neighborhood will be involved from the very beginning. It will get people outside. It will allow people to be engaged in a variety of different mediums. Again, looking at the RFP as it's written, it builds in a process for making sure that's done. And then the other thing is, it will show that there is a lack of protective factors for youth in the community, which directly affects the life paths of young people. So by having this data, as Pranisha mentioned, we will be able to really speak into something that will benefit the neighborhood for a long time to come. If we've got good, solid data, like we've got in any of our other comprehensive plans, our Anton Drive study, our housing plan, all of our plans, that data will ultimately be able to help serve us as a council in making better decisions for the neighborhood and the community. And then finally, we have ample evidence that shows when young people are engaged, the protective factors such as leadership, sense of engagement, sense of involvement, academic achievement are increased, and risk factors such as substance abuse, mental health issues, involvement in the justice system, absenteeism are reduced. That's fact. And I will reference what I've referenced in the past. We're gonna be redoing the Dane County Youth Assessment. It happens every 3 years. It's a survey of every middle and high school aged youth in Dane County, as well as the Race to Equity report, as well as national data from youth.gov. All of them clearly and unequivocally point to the fact that when young people are engaged, especially in out of school time, that the youth are better themselves and the community is better. The community is more connected. This data is clear. It's not data that's debated. It's very clear. And again, by engaging in this study and completing that study and doing a robust study, we are able to have the data and the engagement that we need, both of those things at the same time. This has multiple benefits. And we can wait and give our money to a nonprofit and give a $15,000 amount to a nonprofit to do work. That work is valuable. But this work is valuable as well, and it's right in front of us. And it's going to have long-term benefits. This isn't a shell game. This isn't a manipulation. This is investing in our community.
Tom, did you want to speak? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted to speak or vote. Go ahead.
Well, let me help you out. It is a shell game. Misty, I want to talk to you. I want you to tell the taxpayers what's going on here. I need some answers from you. So what happened is, how much is the study? I'm going to say $39,000, $40,000, okay? And how much has been raised, and how much is taxpayers' money? Can you share that with the public and those who are watching?
Go ahead, Missy.
Absolutely. So the 2021 budget included a $40,000 study, $25,000 paid for by property taxes, $15,000 paid for by donations. If this resolution is approved, the study would still be $40,000. The property tax amount, or the donation amount, let's go there first, so the math is easier. The donation amount would be $3,997, and the difference would be property taxes. So the study amount is staying the same. It's just a matter of changing the funding source from donations to previously collected property taxes.
To do your math there, I heard you, well, I heard you and I didn't hear you. To do the math there, it was, just tell me the money that came up short that wasn't, I'll use the word for now, maybe a bad word, but it wasn't raised, or we don't have, was taxpayers' money is what amount?
So the total property tax funding, if this is approved, would be $36,003.
Okay. And thank you. Just want to get that out there. And I just, boy, I just can't let it go. I'm sorry. I can't let it go. Julia, I just can't let it go. We have the money, the Healthy Neighborhood Funds. That's what you stated. We have the money, Healthy Neighborhood Fund. Maybe you don't understand. That's taxpayers' money. You haven't said that part of your sentence. That's taxpayers' money. And we know we don't have the funds.
All right. Julia, go ahead, I guess. I'll keep calling people as long as they keep raising their hand.
So I want to make a clarification again that all the money from the Healthy Neighborhood Initiative are coming from taxpayer money, and this is a decision that the council a couple of years ago decided that we are going to invest a very tiny amount, $50,000 a year, or $60,000, it depends on if we have some unspent money, on working on this neighborhood that they need a lot of work, and they have a lot of social and economic disparity. We decided that as a council a couple of years ago when we established this Healthy Neighborhood Initiative. So the money was already approved. The $11,000 is no new money. It's money that we approved in the 2019 budget, 2019? 20 budget. So, so that money has been it was allocated to the pilot program with United Way, with the idea that United Way will fundraise another $15,000, I think was the idea. They came short, $3,000, but all the money has been in the Healthy Neighborhood Initiative Fund. What we're trying to do is trying to help and trying to move forward with the study and say, we have this money that is for youth program under the Healthy Neighborhood Initiative. Why we don't use it to support the teen center study? That's it. We're not doing anything wrong. So I am very surprised to say that, those comments, because we are aligning with the purpose of the program and the Healthy Neighborhood Initiative.
All right, I think everyone knows how they're going to vote. Oh, I guess not. Okay, go ahead, Gabriella. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that the timing of this does matter. Like, we could spend a year fundraising $15,000, but like we are going to be coming out of the pandemic right now, and the achievement gap is going to be way, way, way bigger than it was before, and it already was significant. So like, if we're basically like warp speeding this study. If we get this money in, we're basically $1,000 short. I will write a $250 check tomorrow to get us a fourth of the way there. Misty, I will follow up you after to find out I was right to City of Fitchburg. I'm happy to do that. I'm sure that I can get a few other people in Fitchburg to do that so we can fill this gap right away and get this study done so that we can start doing the work. I mean, that's the one thing that I think hasn't been said recently in this conversation and that's being lost. It's like this $36,003 of taxpayer money, that is money that's already been collected. It's already earmarked for something like this, for specifically the study or something like the study. So all we're doing is making sure that money goes into that pot. That's $3,000 from the donors of United Way. I've already said they're okay with it. We fill the gap with $1,000. The study gets going so that we can support this community in the ways that it needs to be supported, which is why we need this study. And we all agreed that we needed the study come during budget time. So I think we really need to make sure that this happens now, because we could wait until next year to give one grant for one project, or we could put this money to use right now. To making sure that we're serving this area and these people these underserved people in our community, our neighbors, making sure that we do this now. So I just urge you all to do this. We have this money. We need to get going.
All right, Tracy, we're going to do a roll call vote since it does need 2/3. And I've exhausted the list of speakers, so if you could go ahead and do that, that'd be great.
Alder Radafrada,
Yes.
Alder Clouder. No. Alder Gerhardt,
Yes.
Alder Krause,
Yes.
Alder Maldonado,
Yes.
Alder Schroeder,
No.
Alder Strassman,
No.
Alder Udell,
Yes.
5-3, motion carried.
No, it needs 2/3, so that would actually fail.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Yep. All right, so that fails. All right, back to the agenda. We're on Administrator's Report. Misty, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So first, spring hydrant flushing. So the utilities is starting the hydrant flushing yesterday, and it'll finish on Friday, April 23rd. Flushing will occur from Monday through Friday, 8 to 3. Due to the flushing, the water may be temporarily discolored, but we suggest that you open up the cold water tap for a few minutes to allow full flow, and that will clear out that discoloration. But we do encourage you to do your laundry in the evening when the water is clear so that it doesn't damage your clothes. Fish Hatchery Road construction is back in the swing of it. So there was a traffic shift today, this morning, to continue the project. That traffic method will be in place until about the end of June, at which point it'll switch again. We encourage you all to leave extra time for your commute if you're traveling that area, and also please watch out for the construction workers that are working in the area. The postal contract station, I know there's a lot of interest in that. So they have agreed to stay open through tax day, which has now been extended. So they will for sure be open through May 15th. And Mike and Joyce are continuing to work to find another operator of that postal station. And then the Friends of the Senior Center, they're having a Pancake Plus fundraiser. It's a plus because 10% of all of the profits on food purchases at Hy-Vee Market Grill, both breakfast, including pancakes and not including pancakes, and a lunch and dinner. If you mention the Fitchburg Friends, 10% of that will go to that group. And the date of that is Sunday, April 25th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and that includes dine-in as well as pickup. Just make sure to mention the friends. And then the senior center is also hosting a plastic and paper bag drop-off all April in order to honor Earth Month. There's a barrel in the lower level of the vestibule down by the senior center. That is it.
All right, thank you. Any questions? All right, moving along. Planning Commission, we haven't met. Anything you want to add, Tom?
Yeah, Mayor, you're off to help me with this. I believe the next Plan Commission meeting was the 20th because of the council. I don't know if that's going to meet, so maybe May 18th?
No, we'll meet on the 20th, yeah.
Are you going to meet on the 20th?
Yeah, next week.
Okay, so the next Plan Commission meeting is April 20th.
All right, Public Works, sir.
Sure. For 7B1, make a move to approve Resolution R7421, resolution amending contract terms related to the engineering services for Sayin Road reconstruction.
Motion to approve.
Second. Is that a second, Randy?
Second.
Excellent, thank you, Randy. Did Public Works approve?
Yes.
Did Finance approve?
Yes.
All right, and what's this about, sir?
This one is the contract is being amended, and the way Bill explained it is that it's bringing the terms more in line with what other entities are doing for insurance and indemnification. So it really is just kind of a legal jargon. I don't mean to put words in his mouth, but just changing the terms of the contract primarily on insurance and other statements like that.
All right. Any questions or comments? Seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And any opposed, nay? All right, that is approved. Next one.
Make a motion to postpone Resolution R8920, adopting Seminole Highway Sanitary Sewer Interceptor Connection Charge Report.
Second.
Seconded by Tom. And did you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I guess this was initially postponed from the January 26th meeting, and Bill is just still waiting for additional documentation, so he doesn't know a date. It just needs to be in the future.
Okay. Did Finance also postpone? Julia, did Finance also postpone? Yes, okay. All right.
But this one is an old one, isn't it?
It was postponed earlier, and it's getting postponed again.
Oh, okay, yes, okay, yes.
Yep. All right, all in favor of postponing, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And opposed, nay. All right, that's postponed. Anything else for Public Works?
No, thank you.
All right, what about Parks?
For Parks, make a motion to approve Resolution R6621, approval of the 2021 spring tree planting plan.
Second.
Sent by Gabriella. Did Parks approve?
Yes.
Did Finance approve?
Yes.
All right, and what's this about?
This is the Forestry Division identified 125 trees to plant this spring. They're determined based on new developments, and there is a specific list, hopefully, that everyone saw in the packet. A bid was put out, and SRB was selected. They've done the services in the past, and we were satisfied with their work.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, Gabriella, go ahead.
Just the list of tree plantings, Scott Endel sent that out to the council. So if anyone's curious about where those trees are going, that exists, and if any neighbors want to know, we can provide that information to you.
All right, seeing nothing else, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And opposed, nay. All right, that's approved. Anything else from Parks?
No, thanks.
All right, Library Board, Randy.
We have not met since our last council meeting, but the library board meets next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, April 21st, 5:30. But I do have an update. Home Depot take-home kits pick up the supplies to make your own projects. All the kits are generously donated by Home Depot, ages 5 to 12. Quantities are limited, so one per child. There is a do-it-yourself bird feeder program Saturday, April 17th, 11 a.m. And there's also a garden starter Thursday, April 22nd, 5 p.m. And just some data. March was the busiest month yet for curbside pickup, both in number of orders picked up and a number of items checked out. And we're hoping that the hours limited service will will change in May. So that's what I have for right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commission on Aging Model, Dorothy.
Thank you. We met on the 8th. Senior Centers is always a very active group. As Misty mentioned, Pancake Breakfast is coming up on the 25th. I won't cover more of that. We talked about paper and plastic bag recycling and the fact that Pelletary is not going to be collecting plastic bags any longer. Senior Center decided that they will expand the area that they have available for collecting plastic bags. They have a volunteer that has been doing something with plastic bags. So they will take them even if Pelletary won't. Edgewood student nurses are offering Million Hearts screenings April 22nd at the Senior Center and Highline Apartments, and on the 15th at Chapel Valley Senior Apartments. Men's groups and individual massage appointments will be offered in person at the end of this month. Exercise classes, support groups, and limited in-person dining will be offered in May. Dane County Area Agency on Aging is requiring the Senior Center to deliver meals 5 days a week starting in May. Due to lack of volunteer drivers, they've only been delivering 4 days a week. So they're looking for more drivers. Basically, it's a volunteer gig, but you get paid for mileage for your car, and you get a chance to make lonely people a little less lonely and probably get some nice things in return. So they are currently recruiting more volunteers. Little John's is providing extra prepackaged meals to home delivered meal clients, and apparently people really enjoy his meals. The Aging Advocacy Day is coming up May 12th. It will be a virtual event where people who are interested in aging issues will be able to talk to legislators at the state capitol. They're talking for the 2022 CIP to expand the concrete patio and add a shade structure so that seniors can spend a little bit more time outdoors while we're still all recovering from COVID. And that's all that I had highlighted. More going on, but that's what I got. Our next meeting is May 13th.
All right, thank you. RCC, Gabriella.
RCC meets again on May 10th, but this past weekend on Saturday, we had our annual waterway cleanup. Unfortunately, we had to cancel it in 2020, but we had it this year again, and we will have it annually in April. And we had 4 locations. We had Yarmouth, Quarry Hill, Swan Creek, and Dunn's Marsh, and it was a great success. We had a great turnout from the community. Some of the fun things that we took out were a submerged bike, headlights, lots of soccer balls, baseballs, an old TV, and a tire at Dunn's Marsh. So there was a really great turnout. I hope the Star is planning to cover it, and it's on. Fact TV did a small feature on it. So anyway, I hope a lot of you might come out again in the future, and also encourage people to do it in their local parks, local sidewalks. It honestly it's more fun than you might imagine to kind of find the trash and pick it up. So it's a great family project. So I encourage you guys to get out there, and hopefully if you couldn't make it this year, maybe you'll come out next year. And that's all for RCC.
All right, what about TCC?
Transportation and Transit meets tomorrow. We typically meet on Thursdays, but we had to move our meeting to Wednesday. So tomorrow night, Wednesday, April 14th at 6:30 p.m. And I know a lot of people are interested in the Lacey Road reconstruction. We are looking at resolution R6121 that we would refer out tonight, which is the resolution approving a typical section for the Lacey Road reconstruction project from Fitzroy Road to Seminole Highway. So that should be on the radar for anyone that's interested in that project. And it looks like we're also going to have a Metro Transit review as well.
All right, CETA, Julia.
Okay, so we met on March 25th. Can you hear me? Okay. So, and then we have 2 speakers. One of the speakers was Ms. Jason Field. He's the new CEO for MyRep. He did a presentation and he introduced himself and what are going to be his goal. He mentioned that broadband expansion and workforce and community development are his top priority. And also we have a presentation from the Madison area commercial real estate, and they discuss the trends in the marketplace. So one of the things that I want to share with you is that the pandemic has had a significant effect on the office and retail markets. A small industrial facility remain healthy, and the east side of Madison is doing well in the industrial market based upon easy access to the highway and interstate. And also mentioned that the multifamily vacancy rate is about 4 to 5% and is very stable. So in the area of development, so where is coming development update? Hy-Vee, I don't know you have been in Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee is putting in a permanent structure for its online shopping. You can see this in the parking lot. Terra Point apartment is expected to open in June. And the developer has offered tours of the property. You are interested, you need to talk to Joyce. Park Bank and Starbucks on Fish Hatchery Greenway Cross is expected to open in July. And the other thing is the Park Bank branch that is located in the Lacey Road is going to be closed in August 24. So the city is also waiting for the announcement for the new operator for the theater, the cinema. As you know, Payne and Dolan is working on a development at the corner of Lacey Road and Ficherona, and the development will consist of 100 single-family units and 30 duplex lots. Also, there is a neighborhood meeting this coming Thursday for the, there is a 40,000 square feet physical rehab hospital proposed on Nobel Drive and Fish Hatchery Road. That will be on in the May Plan Commission agenda. So I will recommend all the elders to attend to that neighborhood meeting to get to know a little bit more about the project. Riverzone Senior Housing is reworking plans for Terravesa because they maybe require an ordinance update. Also, the city has received a lot of calls for land for senior housing. Discovery Storage, now you can see it's very visible from Verona Road. It's the vertical storage place. I don't know, you have been there. You can see it from Verona. Our Heart Media property is generating a lot of interest. But the future land is for low density, and most of the developer mentioned that there are need to be higher density to make the project feasible. So there are a lot of discussion about that. Also the reconstruction of the North Fish Hatchery Road that started this, yesterday, April 12th. And also we are working at CEDA with the temporary premise expansion permit program that for the restaurant, we will continue for 2021. So that's it. And we have a long discussion about the ADUs. And we determined that we want to continue, but they had to be approved as a conditional use permit. So that's it for tonight.
All right, thank you. Ag and Rural Affairs, Randy.
Nothing to report.
All right. EMS, Shannon?
Next Thursday, nothing to report.
All right. Bicycle Committee, Joe?
Yeah, I got a few updates. The bi-monthly meeting was last week. The next meeting will be on June 1st. Just a couple updates. I've mentioned this before, but any of the sort of road construction that's going on, that affects bike paths, just bikers should be aware of that. And also the Cannonball Path from a little bit before the Duns Marsh roundabout until McKee Road is still closed because the Madison Metropolitan Sewage District is replacing a sanitary sewer. So just be aware of that, and that's all I got.
All right, thank you. Tree Advisory, Gabriella.
We're still working towards the tree protection ordinance. We have a set of defined goals, a scope and definitions that we recently presented to Parks Commission, and we'll be moving forward with that as our baseline. If anyone wants to know more about the process, I'm happy to share some of those documents with you, and we'll be having a lot more conversation in tree advisory, and we will be coming back to Parks in due time once we have more material to share. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Shannon, how about landmarks preservation? Shannon, landmarks preservation.
Nothing to report.
Oh, all right, thank you. Housing advisory, Dorothy.
There is a pre-scheduled meeting, June 14th. Don't know whether that will hold or not, but that's the only thing that's happening at this point.
All right, what about healthy neighborhoods? Dorothy, healthy neighborhoods?
Yep.
Oh, okay, sorry.
The only thing really on that is the upcoming resolutions, or the resolutions that we just discussed, I suppose. And I do not believe that there's any future meetings scheduled at this point.
All right, next up is the Stoner Prairie Park Planning Committee for Randy. And Randy, go ahead.
They have not met. Thought I had a little more time than that. Thank you.
All right, Finance Committee, Julia.
So in Finance Committee, we approve the detailed review of all the check issues, check number 121960-122021, dated March 16 to March 31st, totaling $2,578,830.36. We also detail a review of all ACH payments dated March 1st to March 31st, totaling $718,239.40. We also review all the P-card transactions for the cycle ending January 6th, totaling $187,657.30. Review all the P-card transactions for the cycle ending in February 8th, totaling for $147,885.70. And also we review all the P-card transactions for the cycle ending on March 8th for $271,999.55. We review we went through a lot of resolutions that are coming forward.
All right, personnel, Dorothy.
Thank you. We all know we've got the city administrator things going on, 31 applicants, 12 were invited to phone interviews, 4 finalists that we're still considering. We'll be talking about that in closed session in a bit. Background checks do not get done until after a job offer has been extended to someone. So we won't be doing any background check until after we know who we want, and I'm not certain what happens if we decide at that point that there's something there we don't like, but we'll leave that for now. This was at our meeting on April 1st. One of the things that we talked about was the draft administrator contract, and we approved a lot of things that had been suggested by staff. One thing that we did kind of go off on was that in the last contract or 2 contracts, if a city administrator lives within the city of Fitchburg, they got a $5,000 a year bonus. And we kind of agreed that that's not exactly fair to other employees, and it's not necessary for them to be that close because they are not our first responder type person. So we decided to suggest pulling that out of the contract. Sarah also talked about equalizing the ability for new employees to negotiate starting vacation time, whether they are exempt or non-exempt. That's a current question with a current new hire. So we voted to allow that to happen so that we can equalize things there. She gave us a COVID update saying that there are still some staff working from home, but it's starting to open up. Emergency paid sick leave for COVID for staff expired on 3/31, and there's been large decrease in the number of people that are still making use of COVID vacation time. So that's been doing good. And until something happens that we need to meet again, I don't think we have a future meeting scheduled.
All right, thank you. Public safety, sir?
No report.
All right, we're doing mayor and alder reports later, so on to new business. We have some direct referrals. Let's see, Julia, for our finance, do you want to do this first one?
Yes. I move approval of resolution R-69-21, a resolution to approve the 2021 funding awards for the Healthy Neighborhood Grants Program.
Second.
I'll second that.
I heard Joe first. So, did finance approve?
Yeah, we approve it.
All right, and do you want to speak to this?
Yeah, so this one is the annual awards that the Healthy Neighborhood Initiative Committee awards every year to the grant recipient. I want to mention that we received 13 applications requesting a total of $173,000, but we have only $63,000 to fund. So what we decide, one second, if you look in the package, you will see that the group of, one second, maybe I can, so the recipient of the Healthy Neighborhood Initiative Award are, Budget Prairie Needs Network. We have been working with them for a couple of years. They're gonna receive $7,500. Big Brother and Big Sister of Dane County, $11,500. This is another partner that we have a previous relationship. Boys and Girls Club of Dane County, $7,500. Dear Dairy, this is a new organization. We are gonna award $11,500. The Latino Academy of Workforce Development, $10,000. Little John's, $7,500. And 1,000 Friends of Wisconsin, $7,500. So these are the not-for-profit organization that we are recommended to get funds. I don't know, Wade, do you want to mention something?
Wade, anything you want to add?
Oh, I think you covered
Okay.
it. Yep.
Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none. All in favor,
Yeah.
say, oh, Julia, yep, go ahead.
Yeah, the other thing I want to mention that we are going to invite this organization in one of the committee of the whole to do a presentation to so they can share with us what they are doing in the community, and also as you know, they need to present a final report when they're done with the project. So if you want to know what they have been doing, some of the previous awardees, please contact Wade. We have all these application and annual reports.
All right, anything else? All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that's approved. Sarah, you want to do this next couple?
Sorry.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Nope, that's all right. I move resolution R-7721, resolution approving the 2021-2023 median mowing contract.
Seconded by Randy. Did Parks approve?
Yes.
Did Public Works approve?
Yes.
Did Finance approve?
Yes.
Yes, all right. And what's this about?
This is the annual mowing contract. It is just maintaining the landscape within the medians. The staff awarded or recommended awarding the 3-year contract with Prime Landscaping. And they had done the work in the past and had done a nice job for the last 2 mowing seasons, so we felt comfortable moving forward with that recommendation.
And I know that grass is growing, so they want to get this approved.
Yes,
if
thank
possible.
They were excited, just we've kind of had prime growing season with the light rain and then the sun, so they know that they do plan on moving forward. I believe the contract date was April 15th, I believe was the start date. Sorry, I don't have it listed, but it is soon.
All right. Any questions or comments on this one? See none, then all in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay? All right, that's approved. You want to do the next one too?
Yeah, I move approval of resolution R 7821, the 2021-2023 median landscape maintenance contract.
Seconded by Randy. Did Parks approve?
Yes.
Did Public Works approve?
Yes.
Did Finance approve? Yes, it looks like. I'm seeing a nod. All right, and what's this one about?
So this one is for the median landscape maintenance. So this is maintaining the landscapes within the medians throughout the city. And as you can see, it also is, there's some that has more to it than just the mowing. So it's actually maintaining it with that specific landscape maintenance details that are included. Staff recommended awarding the 3-year contract to Johnson Snow Removal, which they have done in the past and have done a nice job, so we were comfortable with that.
All right, any questions on this one? Yeah, Gabriella, go ahead.
I just wanted to say with this one and the last one, they are still going to RCC, and I hope to have a conversation, kind of a broad conversation in RCC. You know, obviously that we're taking action tonight, so there's no consequence to RCC voting on them. However, I'm hoping to have a broader conversation about how we can plant native vegetation and also protect pollinators in these processes. So I want to investigate if we can think about replacing some of these grassy mediums with native vegetation, and if we can make sure that we are managing these in a way that protects our pollinators. For example, I talked about this with Scott in Finance Committee meeting, but part of the this contract for landscaping includes a direction to use herbicide. I would like to know a little bit more about what type of herbicide we use and when we apply it, because I do believe the timing matters quite a lot with certain pollinators that burrow into the ground. April and May typically is a very important time of year for them. And so if we're applying herbicides sometime in early May, we could be having a really detrimental effect on the environment and maybe not even realize that we're doing so. So I'm hoping that when those 2 resolutions come to RCC, we can have a broader conversation about how we can create sustainability in these particular thoroughfares in our city, and if we can make changes in the coming years to do so. Even though these are 3-year contracts, my understanding from our parks director is that we are able to make some changes mid-year if we want to. And so I hope to maybe bring that up for discussion at some later date. Thanks.
All right, anyone else? See none, all in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay? All right, that's approved. I'll see another one for you, Sarah.
Move approval of resolution R 7921, authorizing an increase in stormwater rates.
Can I get a second? Seconded by Randy. Did Public Works approve?
Yes.
Did Finance approve? Yes.
Yes.
All right, and what's this one about?
This is a recommendation to increase our stormwater rates by 38%. It is, sounds like a very significant percentage increase. It does account for an approximately $25.82. It's due to the fact that they needed to, we're funding more people, and just that the budget is unfortunately demanding an increase in order to meet the things that we'd approved. And it was interesting because I did find it very helpful, and Misty can speak to this a lot better than I can, but they did a great job of providing comparables of other cities to show kind of that we're in line, and that it did seem as though our rates were potentially too low, and this is why the 38% increase is coming.
All right, anything you want to add, Misty?
I guess just a little bit more. So Sarah referenced about the comparable municipalities. So since it's not in the packet, so looking just at the urban average residential, because that's the easiest to compare across municipalities. So the city is currently at about $75. We would go up to a little over $103 per year for that average urban residential. For comparables, Monona is at 100, Middleton is at 180, Sun Prairie is a little over 140, and then Verona is at 66. So if you look at the comparable ones, even with this pretty significant increase, we are at least in line or even below what some of our comparables are. And the reason for the increase really is just to balance the 2021 budget. It does not address the future capital needs that we know we're going to have to talk about during the next CIP process. This only balances 2021's operating purposes.
Any questions or comments at all? Tom, go ahead.
You know, the assessments that the rural area had, and I've gotten a lot of I've gotten a few calls on this, and I think it's a big increase. I won't vote for it, especially the rural area, where they were hit with these assessments. I know that's always kind of I understand what the clerk just said in reference to other municipalities and cities and Middleton, Sun Prairie. You know, I just don't care right now on that. I don't care. It's about Fitchburg, and you're going to increase this again on the people. This is the tax. We just taxing them again, and that's what you're doing. That's what's going on here. It doesn't sound like a lot, but boy, it's been a tough year. It's been a tough pandemic year. It's been a tough employment year. It's been a tough assessment year. It's been a tough tax year. I just can't see it to do it again. So that's all I guess.
Joe, go ahead.
I got 3 questions. Sorry if they might have been addressed. One, is there sort of a way to do this incrementally? Just because it's sort of a sudden jump by a pretty huge percentage. 2, why was it, I guess it seems very sudden, so if somebody can clarify sort of why it's, you know, coming up in this meeting and not maybe foreshadowed a little bit more. And if it was, excuse me. And then 3, how often are those payments due?
Misty, do you want to respond to that?
Absolutely. So the incrementally question, so this increase as it is, the effective rate for the people that pay quarterly is July 1st, which means they'll first see that increase in their September bills. And then for the annual payments, their increase isn't effective until 1/1 of 2022. So they'll see that with their annual bills. So we can't really do it incrementally. Even as it is, that increase won't really balance 2021 because there's a delay in timing as when that increased revenue is going to come in. And we'll just have to use our cash reserves to kind of weather that storm. I do think that going forward, now that we have a structure set up, that during budget time, we can have a little bit more thorough conversation about the rate increase that will be needed to balance the budget. I did talk in generalities at CIP and budget time about how a rate increase would be needed to meet the budget. At the time, I thought it'd be in the 20 to 25% range. This obviously is more than that because of some different numbers that came in differently. But at least now that we have a structure, I can have a little bit more specifics about what that rate increase will be so that you guys have a better frame of reference. So that kind of explains the timing piece on it as well. So there's some foreshadowing, but probably not as specific as what I could have been. So we'll be more specific going forward. And then how often the payments, so the rural customers in particular are annual bills, everybody else pays quarterly.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Of course.
And I know one other thing you mentioned, Misty, is that this is really happening because of the budget that we passed as a council. And so in some ways it makes sense for this council to also approve this increase because it is a direct result of some of the projects and some of the budget decisions that we had made.
Exactly. If I can expand on that a little bit too. So if you look at the executive summary for the stormwater budget, there were a couple of things that really popped out. Capital obviously is one piece, but that's really not a major player in this conversation. This is the operating budget. But there was an additional person that was hired, 2/3 of which was paid for out of stormwater rates in order to increase or improve our maintenance of the facilities that are held within the stormwater. So that was a big piece of it. Vegetation management and small flooding concerns has been significantly increased over the last couple of years. I'm sure you've all heard about the various flooding issues that have been discussed across the city. So additional money was included in the budget to address some of those, especially the ones that could be addressed with a relatively small price tag, but we don't know what those are yet. So there's kind of an amount of money in the budget to address those unforeseen items that wasn't included in the past. And then there's a new additional street sweeper being purchased. So it's not a replacement of the existing street sweeper, it's an additional one, which means obviously paying for it, but then also the additional fuel and maintenance and et cetera for that item. So these are all things that were included in the budget because of the growing stormwater issues and the growing stormwater projects and concerns that need to be addressed.
Julia, go ahead.
Yeah, so we have a lengthy discussion in finance about this. So we agree that this one is another tax rate increase for the resident, and is very hefty. We also discussed about the other thing that I would like to mention is that maybe we should have better in the package, should have been a list of all the projects that we need to fund this year, you know, because we need to have, as an alder, we are going to start receiving phone call tomorrow saying why we are doing that, why you raise 38%. And, you know, I think the information in the package wasn't complete, because we need to know what are all those lists of projects they are hitting the budget this year and the priority. So that one was something that maybe, you know, I had the opportunity to talk to Misty and Bill, and I had the, you know, because I asked them, I knew what they were the project, but because I didn't find it in the package. The other thing is, I think the ALDER, we should have some information ahead about this coming, to be prepared for this, because I think most of us find out about this increase, the 38% increase in the last 2 days. And the other thing that we need to discuss is, and we discussed with Misty and Bill in finance, is how we are going to do the outreach to notify you know, the resident about this. That one is going to be key, because we don't want to, the same happen what happened last year with the assessment notices that we send them without any explanation. So I think we need to be proactive and explain our resident why we are doing that. I think because there is a legit, you know, reason why we're doing that. You know, there is a lot of issue with flooding that they are going to come. This is we need to be prepared as a city to move forward with all these climate change issues that they are going to affect our infrastructure, especially flooding, especially management of the ponds. And we are building more neighborhoods, and every neighborhood come with 2 or 3 new ponds that we need to maintain and keep, you know. So I think we need to be start paying more attention to the stormwater rates and all the capital projects that they are coming in the pipeline, because they are important for our infrastructure, but they are going to be costly. So, and I think that yes, it's a 38% increase is a lot. You know, I had to approve it because one of the projects that is going to happen is happening in District 2. We have a big issue of flooding in the south of McKee Farm Park. You already heard the neighbors. They came to the council several times, and we already promised them a study, and you know, and we need to fund that study with this increase. So I have to say yes, you know, but I think we need to be more proactive how we inform our residents about these increases, and also to the elders, because as I mentioned, I found out about this 38% in the last 2 days. So,
Sarah, go ahead.
Yes, I definitely didn't mean to downplay the increase, that it is significant, and we did have a lengthy conversation within Works as to how this should be, we're kind of on track to anticipate a significant increase for the next year as well. So that feels bad, and just that we do have all these large projects that are in the budget. So we did talk through notification for the public, And we did say that the public will be notified in the paper and within their next quarterly bill for residents. The increase will go into effect on July 1st. So we're hopeful that the public is notified in advance, but we did have a lengthy conversation, just that 38% is very significant, and just knowing that there's most likely an increase next year as well.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Gabriella.
You know, I go what a lot of my colleagues have already said. You know, this is a huge increase, but these stormwater projects are expensive, and I think it's really helpful to look at what the other municipalities that are equivalent to us are charging. I think it's unfortunate that we see a huge jump all at once rather than a slow increase, but this needs to happen, and I support the increase because it's what we need to do to get get through this year. I do want to also make the point that we have a stormwater utility credit program where you can get discounts on your quarterly bill if you have things like rain barrels, rain gardens, pervious payment, or if you have done a pledge as a Fitchburg Creek supporter. And I would encourage you to take a look and see if you qualify for those, and if so, submit your form so you can get your stormwater utility credit on a regular basis. That is on the City of Fitchburg Stormwater webpage. And if anyone has any difficulty finding that, feel free to reach out to me and I can direct you directly to the PDFs. And I asked Misty, and hopefully we can include a note about that on the bills where there's the increase, so people can take a look and see if they qualify for credits.
All right. I think we're ready to. Oh, Tom, you speak? All right. Go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
You know, let me put it this way. Maybe a small increase, I understand, you know, maybe a 2% or 3% or something, you know, a small increase, I understand. I just heard alders tonight justify their vote. You just justified why you're going to increase this. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm okay with that. But I'm not. I'm not okay with it. From what I heard tonight, it also sounds like the city of Madison. It just sounds like the city of Madison when they vote. I've watched enough of their meetings. But this is a big increase. You're talking 38% or 30%, whatever it is. This is not just a little hit. And if we were going to buy a street sweeper, that should have been programmed into the cost of the street sweeper or something. Not this, not a water rate. And I get a lot from the rural area, people saying, what is my money, what's it used for? I get water in my driveway, Tom. I have terrible flooding in my driveway. And it goes on and on. But this is a big increase. And the next budget, I won't be here, but the rest of you compensate for it. You know, do something about it. But all of a sudden now, in the middle of, what are we in? April. We're going to tax the taxpayers, tax them another 38%. I think it's huge. I think it's huge rate. And I'm old fashioned. When I printed this out tonight, that's the first thing, one of the first things, besides the teen center, I admit it, I highlighted. I thought, wait a minute, what's going on here? And you answered the question. And I'm sure you had good discussions in the committees. I don't question that. I'm good with that. I don't think everybody probably agreed, but this is a justify your vote and then vote for it, but you're taxing the vote. You're taxing the voters. Go ahead, tax them. I'm not.
All right. Randy, go ahead.
Just one question, and it's directed to Misty. What happens if we do not vote for this? What kind of impact does that have?
Yeah, so right now, the 2021 budget is about $440,000 short. So if we don't approve this, that means we have to go back to the budget and cut expenses. So the reason why this increase is necessary is because of the budget that was adopted and approved. And so if that budget stands, the revenues need to be increased in order to pay for it. And if I may, I'd also like to clarify that, yes, this resolution is a direct referral, but the original resolution was referred at the last meeting. So it's hopefully this isn't the first time that people are seeing this resolution.
All right, thank you. All right, I think we can go ahead and vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay.
Nay.
I think that I need to do a roll call. It's closer than. Sorry, Tracy. Roll call for me.
All right, Alder Rodafrada,
Yes.
Alder Clouder,
No.
Alder Gerhart,
Yes.
Alder Krause,
Yes.
Alder Maldonado,
Yes.
Alder Schroeder,
Yes.
Alder Strassman, Alder Udell,
No.
5 to 3.
All right, that's approved. All right, next up, looks like another Public Works one, Sarah.
Thank you. Move resolution R8021 approving First Amendment to agreement for subdivision improvements in the plat of Crescent Crossing.
Seconded by Randy. Did Public Works approve?
Yes.
Did Finance approve? Yes. All right, I'm seeing yes.
All right.
What's this one?
Yes, this is an amendment to the agreement that allows the developer to provide a cash escrow to provide a sidewalk. The developer is required to install prior to occupancy, so this will allow for that escrow to be provided at the time the Lacey Road Seminole construction is being designed. It basically was proposed as kind of an efficiency of having these enhancements done at the same time as the Lacey Seminole construction.
All right, any questions? Seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that's approved. You got another one, it looks like.
All right, I move approval of resolution R8121 approving the agreement with R.A. Smith for construction-related services for Crescent Crossing.
Seconded by Randy. Did Public Works approve?
Yes.
Did Finance approve?
Yes.
Yes, all right. What's this one?
This one is, there's no cost to the city as the developer will be paying for, and it's just the Crescent Crossing construction services that I'm trying to think through here as to the developer costs. We don't have the staff on hand to provide those related services for that development, and so the developer will be providing those services at their expense.
All right. Any questions? Seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that is approved. Next one.
Move approval of resolution R8221, approving amendment number 1 to agreement with R.A. Smith for construction-related services for Stoner Prairie.
Seconded by Randy. And did Public Works approve?
Yes.
Did Finance approve?
Yes.
Yes. All right, what's this one?
This one is similar to the prior resolution where the city does not have the inspection services or the staff on hand to provide the inspection services. So this is where the developer will be providing the expertise to provide this Stoner Prairie inspection services for construction.
All right, any questions on this one? Seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that is approved. We already did number 8, and then we did move all mayor and all the reports to this spot, so I can go first, and then I'll have our 3 retirees go last during this piece. So let them go last. A few things. If some of you may know Phil and Winnie Lacey. Long time, obviously Phil's part of Lacey family, long time Fitchburg residents. Phil unfortunately passed away this morning, so if you knew Phil or Winnie, Phil did pass away unfortunately this morning. So I wanted to share that. Also wanted to, again, publicly thank Sarah Olson from HR for all her work in our search for a new city administrator. We're going to be talking about that in closed session a little bit later, but we had some great candidates, and she did a great job with all of that, so thank you for that. Otherwise, I just wanted to go through and thank our 3 retirees. Dorothy's been on council for quite a while, and has always been a tireless advocate for the people in District 1 and other places as well, but especially in her district. You know, I really appreciate how much care and concern she has for the people throughout the city, residents, but also staff and other people. So thank you for all your time, and you are still thankfully representing Fitchburg residents on county board, so that's great. Sarah, it's only been 2 years. I wish it was a little longer, but you know, I know that you got a lot of responsibilities going on, but you know, thank you for all your work representing my area. So appreciate that and all the effort and all the time and work that you've put in as well. And then, you know, Tom, it's kind of your second time through on council, but you know, I always really appreciate the history lessons, and I don't always know what you're saying, even though you tell me I do. But you know, we had a lot of good times here, and tireless advocate for residents. I mean, that's key, is you're always willing to go to bat for residents, and I think that's a lesson that any council member incoming should learn, is that you know, ultimately the residents are who you report to, and you've always been a tireless advocate for that. So you know, thank you as well for all your many years of service to the city, both as elected official and employee. And I know that all three of you are not going anywhere, and you're still going to be around, but thank you all for your work. I'll just go down the line. Joe, you can go ahead next.
Sure. I'll just add on to the mayor's thanking of Alder Krause. So just a personal story. In 2012, around March, it was kind of cold outside. I woke up to a fire in my apartment building on Guilford Road. Thankfully, my wife smelled the smoke, got us and my, at the time, 5-year-old, 6-year-old son out of the house with our wallet, our cell phone, and our keys. And you know, there were 8 other families in the apartments, and the first person I saw the next day, I was coming back to survey the damage, was Dorothy. She was there to check on residents who had experienced the fire in her, you know, supervisory district. And I've always just seen that thread throughout, you know, the next 9 years knowing her. She's always there. She's at every community meeting. She knows everything that's going on in the community. She is at all the neighborhood association meetings, and she's somebody who really, really, truly does the work and cares of knocking on the doors, meeting residents, and you know, is always there. So I just want to thank you personally from the bottom of my heart for your effort, your service, and your time to, you know, Belmar, to District 1, to Fitchburg, and to, you know, the entire community in Dane County. So, you know, I want to give you your roses while you're still here. I want to just announce that we are having another episode of D1 All-Stars this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. on Fact TV. This month's guest is Xochitl Garcia. She's a resident of King James Court. She's a native of Nicaragua. She's a mother, and she's also works for the Latino Chamber of Commerce. And I also want to give a shout out to the Latino Chamber. They, within the past couple of weeks, have given out 300 vaccinations to folks in the community, particularly, you know, a lot of our frontline workers, our Spanish speakers. So, you know, thank you for all the service, Xochitl, that you do as a resident and as somebody that works here in this community. And then finally, I want to say rest in peace to Dante Wright. He was a 18 or 19-year-old father. He was killed in an officer-involved shooting in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. I'm just in awe that these things are still happening, but unfortunately, I'm not surprised. I have to say it every time something like this happens, and I'll continue to say it until it stops happening. Black Lives Matter. and your life mattered, your family's matters, and this should not have happened. And I hope and pray that there is justice for what he did, but for what was done to him, but on a broader scale, that there's justice to prevent things like this from happening again. That's all I've got.
All right, thank you. Julia, go ahead.
First of all, I want to thank all my fellow alders that they are, leaving the council today, especially Dorothy. We haven't seen eye to eye in many things, but I respect your service, what you have done in District 1. So I wish you the best. Continue the work in Dane County Board of Supervisor. I learned through you what it was to be, what is the 40% of people in Fitchburg that live in poverty. I didn't know that in my first and my second year as a council member. So you opened the eyes to me about the other part of Fitchburg. So thank you. I also want to say Sarah and Tom for your services and wish you the best in your next stage. So I want to tell you something great. We met the Inclusive Playground group. We meet usually once a month, and we met last Tuesday, April 6th. We have a very great meeting. I'm gonna give you some number of fundraising. We already have 50,000 that they are deposited in the Madison Community Foundation. We have $10,000 for Oak Bank. We have we have another $9,000 collected through the Friends of I forgot, Optimist Club, the Fitchburg Optimist Club, and then we also have collected almost $10,000 in our soft fundraising. So these one are soft because we haven't even make it public yet, but the money is coming slowly, and this is great. So we met with our the engineer team last week that is led by Corey Horton. So you may know Corey. He was our public works director in the city. So he provided the site survey information and the layout of the new playground. Also, we work with the draft of the cost, how long and how much it's going to take. It's going to be going to cost the playground amenity. We also discussed about to provide a list of additional amenity like benches, lighting, landscape, and all of these are going to be additional expenses that we need to fundraise. So we also work on the type of amenity that we want to, or the equipment that they're going to be in the playground. We talk about what are the social and emotion amenities, motor skill, sensory, and cognitive skill. And also we are working on working with our engineer team and Scott from Parks on the RFP. And we hope that we are going to submit that in May. So I'm going to keep you posted for the next step on this. And the other thing I want to mention that I participate last weekend on Saturday in the waterway cleanup. I work in my district in the Yarmouth area. And I want to tell you that, oh my Lord, it took me, I was assigned at one of the ponds on Fish Hatchery on PD, close to the Walgreens pharmacy that is behind that. I was amazed the amount of garbage that I collect. Top, mask, and then a lot of plastic bag. So I will tell our fellow residents in the city of Fitchburg, try to don't use plastic bag. Try to use recycle bag if you have for your shopping. But I was amazed to see the amount of plastic bag on the watershed. So it was a great. I want to thank all the volunteers that they show up. to do the cleanup, and I think it's a great opportunity if you go for a walk to a park, grab a plastic bag, and start collecting, because there are a lot of garbage this year in our parks, I noticed. That's it.
All right, Gabriella.
First, I wanted to say goodbye to the outgoing alders. I always enjoy discussion, and I appreciate your service. You know, this is a tough job, and in a lot of ways a thankless job, and so I appreciate you all for hanging in there. And I feel like this council in particular has had kind of a tough year. We've had a lot of really tough discussions and some intense moments. So, and I'm actually quite sad that we never actually got to be in a room all together at once, and I guess we did well. So that's what happens with the pandemic. But in particular, I wanted to thank Alder Krause. She's always been really supportive of me and has fought for the things that I think are important in this city for a long time. And thank you for your service, for putting so many in. It's a lot of work, so thank you. Second, I wanted to mention COVID vaccines. Fitchburg Family Pharmacy and Thad Schumacher have given out over 3,000 vaccines here in Fitchburg. And you can still sign up to get vaccines with them. But vaccines are available to everybody 16 and older in Wisconsin at this point in time. And there are lots of different ways to get them. So if you're interested, look into local pharmacies, national chain pharmacies, Alliant Energy Center, your department of your local health hospital. There are ways to get vaccines in the near future if you want one. So I'd encourage you to go seek that out. The Wisconsin Department of Health and Public Health Madison-Dane County are good resources for getting started. And honestly, if anyone doesn't know where to start, feel free to reach out to me too, and I can help you navigate that as well. And then lastly, finally, I wanted to just acknowledge the pain and anguish that many of our Black neighbors are feeling right now due to what's happening in Minnesota, you know, with the murder of Daunte Wright, and then also, you know, right in the midst of the trial of the officer that killed George Floyd. This is an extraordinarily painful time. I share in your pain, but I acknowledge that I cannot fully empathize because I live my life with privilege. And I want you all to know that as a member of city council, you know, I acknowledge that systemic racism runs through city policies, including city policies in Fitchburg. And it can be in very subtle and difficult to identify ways. I am always working to educate myself, listen, and see if we can find ways to take anti-racist action here in Fitchburg. And I welcome feedback at all times. Black Lives Matter.
Shannon. Shannon.
No report.
All right, Randy.
Let's see, District 4, Seminole Glen Park buckthorn removal event is this Saturday, April 17th from 8 to 12. A group of the Seminole Forest neighbors will be cutting and clearing invasive honeysuckle and buckthorn in the park near the pond and possibly along the path. They are looking for volunteers. If you're interested in helping, bring work gloves, heavy-duty pruning shears, and eye protection. And they will be cutting down invasive shrubs and hauling the brush to the edge of the path for pickup. I guess they will be meeting behind Jonathan Circle near the pond along the path. So for those that are interested, this Saturday. And then I always like to give a little shout out to some of our local businesses. Hates Mobile Maintenance down on Haight Road and MM, I believe. They are having an open house this Saturday, April 17th from 8 a.m. to 2. Refreshments, chainsaw, wood carver, hay cut it out, and we'll be on site. And there will be a giveaway, a free Echo string trimmer. So if you're out and about and want to support local business, stop into Hates Mobile. And I too, Dorothy, Sarah, and Tom, thank you for your tireless commitment for the good of Fitchburg. I appreciate having the opportunity to work alongside each of you, and I especially value the friendships, the relationship that we have built as we challenge each other's viewpoints on how to accomplish what was best for the people of Fitchburg. You will be missed, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
All right, on to our retirees. Dorothy, go ahead.
All right. About an hour before our meeting, I started just typing out a note. I'm just gonna kind of read it. Comes in kind of a two-part theme. The first is raising the entire ship. We all do better when we all do better. President Biden recently said we need to remember the government isn't some foreign force in a distant capital. It's us, all of us, we the people. The second theme is laying down what's become an emotional burden. Says I realized how tired I was a few years ago, but it came to a head in many ways a couple of months ago, and I decided I really didn't want to win, and I quit campaigning. Being an alder is not a hard job if all you do is watch after the money and the stuff that is important to the dominant majority. But if you've lived a life where your primary interest is in those that are left behind by society and you don't get a lot of support, it's incredibly difficult. Most of my life, I've been more of an introvert than anything and had service jobs that have made me like a good church lady. You know, the ones that are in the church kitchen getting ready for events and staying late until everything is cleaned up and put away. I've never had any aspiration to be the pastor, although doing this for so long has helped me to find my voice, even though it's not natural for me, nor have I had any kind of training in it. To do the job well, though, you need to consider all the people that live here, where they work, where they play, and where they live. If the city isn't helping to raise the entire ship, it's doing it wrong. Ask why a lot. Why do people live in housing that most of us wouldn't even consider? Why do kids get into trouble? What's happening in people's past, or their culture's past, or their family's past generations that have contributed to being in a position that most of us don't envy, or even that repulses us? I'm certain that no one in history, when asked what they want to be when they grow up, answered homeless or in jail or a single parent or selling drugs for a living or whatever. One of my favorite speakers at a national conference, who once was a drug kingpin in LA, but learned to cook in prison and ended up cooking at the Bellagio in Las Vegas, said of similar people, they are excellent entrepreneurs. They just need a better product. Well, we may not have got drug kingpins in Fitchburg, but we sure have a lot of people that have a lot of talents to do great things if they have the means and the opportunity. The city is charged with housing and with jobs, and we should be able to figure out how to help people to increase income legitimately so they can be productive citizens and afford better housing than we make available to them now. It's not easy or even fun, but it's necessary if we want Fitchburg to be a city that prides itself on being a city that takes care of all our people. So after 10 years, I made a very considered decision to leave moving forward to others that I hope care about the people of the city at least as much as they do profit, especially since government isn't intended to be profitable, given that to do so, you have to get rid of non-profitable things, and that would be our people. I'm comfortable that Joe will carry the ball a lot further down the field. I helped move it quite a distance already, especially in awareness of the needs of people that most of the city has almost always ignored, and movement toward trying to level the playing field just a little bit. I'll still be involved in things I care the most about, but I won't have to do all that has been typical in keeping up with everything in the city. Now I get to pick and choose. Anyway, special thanks to a few people that have been moving the ball forward also. People that have been opening doors and holding them open. People out in the community, Thad and Fitchburg Family Pharmacy, he's already been mentioned. Dave Heidi and all he's doing with Little John's. And Marcia hasn't been mentioned in a long time from Badger Prairie Needs Network, where 75% of the people that go through their food pantry are Fitchburg residents. It's been tremendous to have those folks in our community. I also wanted to note some of the staff, those that are still around anyway. I know a lot of good staff have left out of some of the same frustrations that I end up feeling. Jill in the senior center, I wanted to highlight Wade in planning that's done so much with the HNI, Sarah in HR that's been doing a lot of the work that was discussed tonight in trying to begin helping the city to understand the dynamics of the 40% that Julia had mentioned, the people that are living in poverty in this city that most of this city doesn't even know about. And a big one to Chad, our police chief, that he's got a balancing act because he comes from the whole policing community that so many people have such a problem with, but he also, in a lot of ways, really gets what's going on in the city, the needs of the community, and he's been involved in at least some of the police reform that we really need in the city and probably throughout the entire country. So I really give him a lot of kudos. He does a lot of really hard work. And thanks to all the people that I've worked with on council over time, there's been a lot that's been done. A lot more to do, but a lot that's been done.
All right, thank you. Sarah?
Yes, apologies for being repetitive from the last meeting, but just overall, it just has been an honor to serve as District 3. I really appreciate the residents, mayor, other alders, staff. It's been great watching the city grow, and I just think it's a fantastic city, and I look forward to seeing how it continues to grow. So thank you. Really appreciate District 3 residents. That's all I have.
Thank you. Tom?
Thanks, Mayor. I guess I want to start by thanking the voters. I've ran 5 races. I've been here 10 years. Add the police department, and my total years is around 36 years I dedicated to this city. I just want to give you a little heads up. When I started on the police force, we were in the bottom of the fire department. If you know where I'm talking, on Lacey Road, if you go down around in the side on the, it would be the east side of the building. That's where the police department was, and that's where I started. And now here's where I sit a number of years later. I do want to thank the city staff. You know, once you start singling people out, you miss somebody. And so the whole staff, I want to say thank you. Appreciate all your time and all you do for the city. I know what it's like. I want to thank the mayor and the city council, the people sitting here. You know, it takes time. It takes time away from family. It takes time away from fun. It takes time away from everything to do what you're doing. So, you know, thanks for what you're doing. So, the next one I failed on, I admit it, I'm going to say it, I failed on it, but if I was running another term, I'd push to have this done. For future alders and the mayor, you may want to have the 2 county supervisors and the elected officials from the state come and talk to us just once a year. You know, just once a year, tell us what's going on. I meant to bring that up a few months ago, and I forgot. I admitted I forgot about it. But I think once a year, the county supervisors should show up. The state representatives should show up and tell us what's going on or what we don't know. That brings me to another topic we talked about. It won't be me, it'll be one of you bringing it up. But our schools, as you know, we have 3 different schools: Oregon, Madison, Verona. If you had Edgewood, that's 4. But this summer, I'd hope you would have Verona come to the city council. They won Division I. They're state champs. And that would be in hockey. And they won on 3-7. And the next one would be, you can invite Edgewood, the boys swimming team. The Division II, 221, they won the Division II state champs. And now I have to put a little pressure on Randy and Shannon and, believe it or not, Joe. I don't care. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Do me a big favor. Right now in the city, there's 3 major arteries that are going to be reconstructed. Fish Hatchery, Sain Road, and West Lacey, including the intersection of Lacey and Seminole. Do me a favor once a month and ask the city, is a project on schedule and at the right cost? Please watch those. Do me a favor, call it the Tom's resolution. I don't care. I don't care. Ask the city if these 3 roadways are on schedule and at budget. Because, and let me tell you, right now we've got millions of dollars we're spending in the city. I realize there's other things, but the roadways, they're one you got to get around. That's how you got to get around the city. To get to groceries, to get to the senior center, to get everywhere. And I have this feeling that it could get away from us. So just please watch that for me. And in ending, I just want to tell you how I enjoyed the past 2 years. Thanks again to all of you. And you can call me anytime for advice, or if you want to complain, it's okay. You know, you could call me and I'll talk to you. And but thanks for all you do, and go Fitchburg.
Thank you. Going on now to some action on claims. We have a number of claims here. We'll go into closed session to discuss those, and when we come out, if we need to do any kind of action and discussion, we can do that. Misty, I see you raising your hand. Yes.
I would just like to point out that if the meeting goes past 11, we would need to extend it, and that needs to be done in open session. So you may want to consider extending it just in case before you go into closed session.
I move to extend the meeting half hour, just in case.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Gabriella. All in favor of extending the meeting a half an hour, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right. So we've got a little over an hour now. And does someone want to read the closed session motion? I know it's long.
I make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Consideration of applicants for position of city administrator.
Second.
Oh,
Actually,
did I
you
not?
gotta, you gotta read the entire thing.
I'm sorry, I read
Sorry.
the agenda. Oh, no, now I gotta scroll up.
For, yeah. It's for the first one only right now.
Oh my, okay.
Oops.
Okay.
You did the first part, so I think you can start at
Okay.
refund.
All right, so conferring with legal counsel or the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is likely to become involved, refund of excessive real estate tax claims for Bowman Farms, Inc. and Bowman Plaza Suite 222, parcel 0609. Do I need to keep going? Oh my. Okay, 0609, 0301, 88152, Fahey Fields, Apartments LLC at parcel 060915151012, Fahey Fields, Apartments LLC, parcel 060915152592, Fahey Fields, Apartments LLC, parcel 060915152692, Fahey Fields, Apartments LLC, parcel 060915153622, Fahey Fields, Apartments LLC, parcel 060915154682, Franklin Square, Condominiums LLC, parcel 060903120867, Franklin Square, Condominiums LLC, parcel 060903122730, Fred Elon LLC, parcel 060918225052, Fred Fitchburg Retail LLC, parcel 060903155172, Fred Fitchburg Retail LLC, parcel 060903155268, Fred Fitchburg Retail LLC, parcel 060903155679, Fred Fitchburg Retail LLC, parcel 06093031, 031711802, Hatchery Hill 3 LLC, parcel 0609 033419113, Hatchery Hill 3 LLC, parcel 0609-033-42261.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Shannon. Welcome to my life. I know how it feels to read all those already. All right, so we are in closed session. We're shutting down the computers here.
Appreciate it.
All right, Sarah, go ahead.
All right, I make a motion to reconvene into open session.
Second.
Seconded by Joel. All in favor of moving back into open session, say aye.
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 Any opposed to go into open session, say nay. All right, we are back in open session. Sarah, do you have a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion for staff to proceed as discussed within closed session with sending letters.
Is there a second? Seconded by Shannon. Any further discussion at all? Seeing none, then all in favor, say aye.
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 And anyone opposed, nay. All right, that is approved. And now, back into closed session. Would someone like to make a motion? It's a little less, a little shorter this time. Someone wants to make a motion to go into closed session? Crickets. All right.
Motion to go into closed session. How's that?
No, you got to read the whole
I
thing,
know I have to
Randy.
read the whole thing. Closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85(1)C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Consideration of applicants for position of city administrator.
Second.
Seconded by Sarah. All in favor of going to closed session, say aye.
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 And opposed,
Will
nay.
will 11:30 be enough time?
All right, I hope so. We should. Yeah. All right, we are back in closed session. Goodbye again, in fact. All right, someone make a motion to reconvene in the open session?
Motion to
moved.
reconvene into open session. Yes, sir.
All right, all in favor of reconvening the open session, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, and we're back in open session. So just for the public to know, we did discuss the candidates, and tomorrow I will be offering the position to one of our 4 candidates. We hope by the end of the week that we can publicly make that announcement so that the public knows. And then in 2 weeks from today, we will plan to approve a contract with that individual. So look for something hopefully later this week. With that, next council meeting is in, well, it's kind of in 2 weeks. Actually, there's a meeting next week for those of us who are still on council. And other than that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, thanks everyone.